Okay. So they're telling us they began with 2 and 5. And we can see that 2 is in fact less than 5, right? To get from here to here, they multiplied by 2. And 4 is still less than 10. That's true. What did they do to these numbers to get from 4 and 10 to minus 1 and 5? What operation did they perform? They subtracted what? What did they subtract to get from 4 and 10 to negative 1 and 5? More than 3. 10 minus what is 5? 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Did that change my inequality sign? Or is it still going to be a less than? Is negative 1 bigger than or smaller than? Smaller than. So my inequality sign is still the same. What did we do to get from this line to this line? How do we go from negative 1 and 5 to 5 and negative 25? They multiplied by negative 5. So multiply by negative 5. Is my inequality sign still the same? Is 5 less than negative 25? No. Now it's greater than. 5 is bigger than negative 25. What did they do on this next line? How did they get from 5 and negative 25 to 15 and negative 15? What did they add? Add 10. Did it change my inequality sign or is it still the same? The same. 15 is bigger than negative 15. What did they do next? They divided by 5. Exactly right. Need another color. So we divide by 5. Is my inequality the same or is it different? The same. 3 is bigger than negative 3. What did they do on the next one? To get from 3 and negative 3 to negative 3 and 3. They multiplied by negative 1, or they divided by negative 1. Either one, we're not sure which operation because they didn't change the numbers at all. So I'm going to put divide. Did that change my sign, or is it the same? It changed it. So what we're looking at here is we're trying to figure out what operations are causing the sign to change. What happened when the sign changed? What happened on this one? What did we do that caused our sign to change here? Not the subtracted, because it went from the blue to the green. So it was this one that caused it. This is when it changed. So we multiplied by negative 5. That made a change. When else did it change? Did it change every time I multiplied? No, because we multiplied up here. They multiplied for us and it didn't change. Well, shoot, so it's not the multiplying. When else did the sign change? When we divided by negative 1, right? So what's common between the multiplying by negative 5 and the dividing by negative 1 that didn't happen when we multiplied by 2 or divided by 5? What's different? The numbers are negative. It's exactly what it is. So our sign changes. The operation, and this is a question on your page, it's just super duper small on my page. The operation that appears to be flipping the sign is when we multiply or divide. That's not how we spell divide. Even I knew that one. I lost 3 of the 6 letters. By a negative. If we multiply or divide by a negative, our sign changes. Okay? So those bottom 3 questions, honestly, aren't the meat and potatoes of today. The meat and potatoes of today are is that first question. What operation flips the sign? What operation flips the sign? Multiplying or dividing by a negative number. The second question is obnoxious and pedantic. But I want you to think about the last 2. Does adding and subtracting a negative number, always, sometimes, or never, give you an opposite? Does multiplying by a negative number, always, sometimes, or never, give you an opposite? So think about those ones. See if we can think of times when it does and when it doesn't. When would adding or subtracting a negative make it be positive? When would multiplying a negative make it positive or negative? I have a page where I can mark on that. I don't even remember. No. Got it. So, what do we think? Does adding or subtracting a negative number always give you a positive? Or only sometimes? Sometimes. Because if I add 3 plus negative 2, that's going to give me a positive number. If I add 3 plus negative 10, then I get a negative number. So I can do both. I can make it happen. I can make it the opposite and I can make it be not opposite. So for this third question, it's a sometimes. How about multiplying or dividing? Is it always going to be a positive number? Or is it always going to be a negative number? Or is it going to be sometimes both? Always. If I take a positive number times a negative number, I am always going to get the opposite of whatever this is. So this is going to give me a negative. If I take a negative number times a negative number, we are always going to get the opposite sign. So multiplying and dividing every single time changes your sign. Adding and subtracting doesn't. So multiplying and dividing always changes your sign, but adding and subtracting doesn't. That's what they're trying to get us to notice through this convoluted table of weird. It's a weird way to do it, but that's what they're trying to get us to see. Okay? So, keep working on homework. I'm going to go in right now and fix homework 3 so you can do it more than one time. I do believe I have edited it so it's no longer obnoxiously long. It used to be, I want to say, 50 questions. It was a lot. So, yes, give me a second. And then also we need to make sure we don't make it an everyday thing, okay?
It's good night, the coach was saying, so I didn't somebody.
Totally fine. Totally fine. There we go. All right, there, Dan, it should be fixed now. All right. So you should be able to get in and do that. There is one more homework assignment after 2-3. There's 2-4. You can access that one if you want to get into it now. You absolutely can. And if you ever see something that looks like it's got the settings set wrong, like you don't get extra attempts on it, let me know, because 100% it's supposed to. That's called I didn't check box. I'm gonna put the wrong last name on there for you.
You put the whole wrong name.
Sure did. Yeah, yeah. It did. I'm like, yeah, that's 100% way off. I'm like, I am terrible. I was gonna say, well, the first name's right. It's just cursive. Close it. There we go. Got you. I'm like, I have 2 Gabriellas right now.